why is it that you believe Christianity is the one true faith?
because the God of Christianity is the only God in human history that has the requisite attributes in order for there to be human intelligibility.
What are
And that
those what are those
God,
attributes?
I'll get to those in a minute. And that God, the God of the Bible, the triune God of the Bible, has revealed himself through all facts in creation. That's called natural revelation. And he's revealed himself through the course of human history. Okay. What was your question?
You said something along the lines of some attributes that made him the most like perceivable God in a sense.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the God of the Bible is ultimate and absolute, which is going to be necessary in order to stipulate any particulars or facts. There are no other gods that are ultimate and absolute in human history. The Christian God uniquely possesses that quality. His triune nature, the fact that he is omniscient, omnipotent, and always truth revealing. And he is in the process of working out a redemptive plan of human history. Without those attributes, then one will not be able to predicate. You won't be able even to say or to defend the sky is blue because you're going
Did
to
you
be in a.
mention triune?
Yes, I
Wait.
did. Yeah, I did. Let me finish. I'm almost done.
All right.
So without the God of the Bible and his attribute sets, you're not going to be able to predicate. In other words, you won't even be able to defend the sky is blue because you're going to be in an open system. Only in a closed system where we have the God of the Bible, his attribute set, and his plan of creation, which provides the metaphysical frame of reference so there can be facts. So if that is rejected, you're going to be in an open system. You won't be able to have any facts of any sort.
Wait, did you say that anybody who is not Christian is unreasonable?
Yes,
How so?
because they've rejected the revelation of God. Anyone who rejects God's natural and special revelation is not only unreasonable, it is irrational.
But we have no real proof that any religion is actually the true religion. So can you say anyone that believes in one religion
So,
thinks
all
someone that rejects their religion is unrational too?
right. So you said we don't have any real proof that any particular religion is the absolute truth. Is that your position?
Yes, yes. There's no proof for any
Okay.
religion to be exactly the true religion.
Okay. So you have ruled out that the God of the Bible has revealed himself in natural and special revelation. So how did you determine that there's no God?
I never said there's no God, but how do
Well,
you know
that's
the one from
no. I know.
Christianity
I
is the
know.
true
I
God? The one
know.
from
I
Islam
know
or
that you.
Judaism?
I know that you didn't say that, but that's your position. Either your position is that all facts are indicative of God, which means facts would be in reference to God, or all facts are standalone without the necessity of referencing God. That is your position, right?
I suppose, yeah. I'll go with that.
Good.
Well,
That is
also,
it.
in order for it to be true that there is no proof of the God, then it would have to be
You're
true that God
roboting,
doesn't exist.
parakeet. You're roboting. Okay, so in order for you to say that, you would first have to establish that God does not exist.
I personally, I'd say I'm agnostic, so I don't believe in a God until he comes to me in some divine revelation or in a divine way to
Okay.
really prove
Okay.
himself.
Well,
So,
right. That's a common misconception that you can be neutral toward God. You're not neutral. You've decided that all the facts that you're acquainted with do not necessitate referencing God as the ultimate precondition,
well, I
right?
feel like
It's
one
not.
thing is like when you read the Bible, like
We're not
there's no
discussing the
proof that any
Bible
of
at the
that's
moment.
okay. Okay.
We're not discussing the Bible right at this
All right.
moment.
I get
I
that. I get that.
asked you a question. I asked you a question. Have you made up in your mind that all the facts that you're acquainted with can be invoked as actual and intelligible without the necessity of referencing God? Is that the
Yes.
principle you're operating from? Good.
Yes.
That is a de facto denial of God, sir.
Okay.
Okay. It doesn't matter if you say, well, I don't know. You've already decided that facts don't necessitate referencing God.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you tell me there's one fact that it can be a fact without the necessity of referencing God as the ultimate precondition, then you have denied God.
Okay, fair
Good.
enough.
So how is it that God doesn't exist?
I don't feel like there's ever been any evidence, any strong enough evidence to really prove that he's there. There's too many other factors in the universe alone, and there's
How did you
so
do?
much misconception with history as a whole. So
Before we go on, I like to know the age of the people I'm dealing with, just so I can have an assessment. Are you a teenager or in your 20s?
I'm in my 20s.
Okay. Now, how did you determine that all the facts that you're acquainted with don't necessitate referencing God?
I've never felt that God was there. I don't know.
You're just that's repeating the same claim in different words.
Okay, well, there's my answer.
Yeah, so your answer is, and the reason why you're laughing is because you're a little bit embarrassed that you're just simply repeating the same question, or excuse me, you're repeating the same statement to defend the same statement. You've decided that all the facts that you're acquainted with do not necessitate referencing God. You could only do so if you had first determined God doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
How did you determine that God doesn't exist?
So I grew up Catholic, Christian, all that.
I didn't
And
ask you. I
oh,
didn't ask you your biography.
no, I'm not
How
giving you
did
my.
you
I'm giving you my
determine?
reasoning how I
No,
came to
I'm
this
not
conclusion.
interested. Listen to me carefully. I am not interested in your biography. I talk with atheists morning, noon, and night,
Yes,
365 days a year, and they give
that's
me their
great.
biography. What I want to know is, listen carefully to the question. How did you determine that God doesn't exist? And from that, you could then say, therefore, no facts are indicative of God because God doesn't exist.
Well, that's
You
not a
could
very. I can't
only,
give you a simple, straightforward answer to that. I'm just going to be
okay,
honest. I
okay,
really can't.
okay. So your position is that God doesn't exist because,
I don't think there's enough proof. It's that simple.
okay, well, you're not understanding because now you're a dog chasing its tail. When you say that all of the facts that you're acquainted with are not indicative of God, you could only do so first by determining God doesn't exist. But then when I ask you, how did you determine God doesn't exist? You say, well, there's not evidence. Do you understand that's a dog chasing its tail?
Sure, yeah.
Good. So that's not a rationale at all.
It's not. I can agree on that.
So so so
I'm
you're
confused
a
myself.
so,
I'm a
so
confused person. So
well, the real reason is you don't want God to exist because if you acknowledge that all facts indicate God collectively, right? Then that would make you a creature, and then that would make you culpable before your creator. But you don't want to be culpable for a creator. You want to walk this planet in autonomy. You do not want to walk this planet every day acknowledging your creator because then it would be compelled upon you to acknowledge him and to be thankful to him.
I'd acknowledge him if
So
he could come to me and show him
okay,
his
but
divine ways.
again, you're making the same unjustified, irrational claim that all the facts that you're acquainted with are not indicative of God. How did you determine that they're not indicative of God?
Through my experience of life, but you don't want a biography, so
I don't know what that. No, no, I don't need a biography. Just tell me right now. How did you determine that all the facts that you're acquainted with are indicative of something that is not God?
through experience. It's
That doesn't
multitudes of
mean anything
experience.
to me.
There's my answer to you. Sorry, it doesn't mean anything, man. Like it's
Well, it
whatever.
doesn't. That's non-specific. That might be fitting for a greeting card from an atheist website, but
Well,
it
I
doesn't
think
answer the question.
there's one thing when it comes to religion is everyone's perspective on it. Everyone has their own understanding and interpretations of everything. So what I'm trying to say is, through
Thank you
my
for
life, through
telling
my
me something I didn't
experiences.
know.
Oh yeah, sure. But basically, through my experience, through my life, I feel like I've just had plenty of experiences, new ideas, thought processes that made me come to this conclusion.
How does what you just said indicate that all facts don't indicate God?
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that. But
So,
I don't
in
have a
other
specific
words,
answer.
you're arbitrarily declaring that all facts are not indicative of God. Is that arbitrary?
I suppose.
Okay. So, do you think anyone in here really believes you have arbitrarily adopted a not God world?
That's up to them.
Okay. So so you woke up one morning and you went, "Okay, God or not God? I don't know. Not God." You just picked one. Woke up
No.
in the morning, okay, gray socks or white socks?
It's been a accumulation of my life. It's been through my experiences that I've come to this. It's not like I just woke up one day and was like, "Oh yeah, God's not real."
Okay,
Like, no, I
okay.
grew up
Your
Catholic.
those
I used to.
experiences could be quantified as all the facts that you're acquainted with. How did you
Yeah.
determine that all the facts that you are acquainted with do not have their ultimate basis in God? How'd you determine
Through,
that?
I determined that through my experiences of life and through my own
You keep on
perspective and through the
repeating that
information.
doesn't
That's my
that's not
answer.
informative.
That's my
That's
answer. That's all
not
I'm saying.
inform that's not
Sorry, it's not the
inform
answer you're looking for. We can move
No,
on. Like, find someone
it's
else. I
not
want to hear someone else
you
talk.
see that that's a sleazy response. Your answer to me is non-informative. It's non-substantive.
Sorry, there's not enough
It's
substance for you, but there's substance to me for it.
Okay, yeah, you
There
said
are
your
things only I understand that you
experiences.
can't, that you won't.
How is the collection of your experiences indicate that there's no God? Simple
I don't know
question.
all my experiences. I've just noticed it through life. I take note of
You
everything that's
told
going
me
on.
that by your experiences, you've determined there's no God.
Yes,
How does the collection of your experiences indicate that the God doesn't exist?
through my perspective, he doesn't. At least, I think
See,
everyone has their own understanding and perspective of
another
it.
throwaway substantive statement.
Is
What
there
you're saying to me,
rational?
is meaningless.
That's great. It has meaning to me, so that's all that matters.
Oh, well, then why don't you decrypt what's meaningful to you? How is the set of all your experiences indicate that there is no ultimate absolute creator?
Things been shown to me that indicates like a
Please do not interrupt or you're going to get
No,
server
he can
muted.
speak. He can speak. I'm done. I'm done.
Oh, yeah, well, the reason why you're done is because I have just demonstrated to you categorically that your atheism is irrational.
he's saying he doesn't know.
Okay? No, that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is
I literally
he's
said
already
I'm
acknowledged.
agnostic in the sense that I'm
Please, okay,
unaware.
we
Okay, sorry.
listen.
I'll
Do we need to recapitulate that? Nobody is neutral toward God. You may claim you don't know that there's a God, but you've already decided that all the facts that you're acquainted with don't necessitate God. And now, just a few minutes ago, you admitted that there's no God. Now you're just telling me you don't know?
It's not neutral towards God. It's neutral towards
Okay.
God
All right.
claims.
Okay.
God claims are different than God.
So I guess we're done because you don't have a rational basis for your atheism. And when I ask you to explicate it, you just give me these non-substantive, ethereal statements that don't mean anything. And then you go, "Well, it means something to me."
Well, it means something to me in the sense that my perspective of the world is different from yours. I feel like
Well,
everyone
Bowie,
has free will.
Thank
and
you
everyone
for
right
telling me something I didn't know.
Okay, Anon, let's hear it. What do you guys say?
just because you haven't
What I'd like to know.
experienced God
So in other
doesn't
words,
mean
you've
he
decided.
doesn't
So you've
exist.
Well,
decided
no,
that
I'm not
there's no.
denying that.
Please don't overtalk me, okay?
Well, I was
So
talking to Sir Anon.
you've decided, yeah, well, you've decided that there's no God, but when I ask you for a rationale, you don't have one, right?
Well, my original rationale was if he showed himself to me, yeah, I believe in him.
Okay, so God does not exist because all facts are not indicative of God.
Yes, yes.
How
we've been
did
here
you
before. Yes.
how did you rule God out?
Through my experiences of life. All right, we're full circle. I'm just gonna
Okay.
stop.
Okay. Yeah, that's just crashing and burning right there. How did your experiences indicate that all the facts in your experiences indicate something else that's ultimate that's not God? What did the facts of your experience indicate that is ultimate that's not God? What would that be?
Like, just because you haven't experienced God doesn't mean there is.
Okay.
There isn't a God.
So again, we have a typical young male atheist being bold, saying, there is no God. But when they're asked to defend it, they just spew gobbledygook.